today we're going to be trying to do the gutters. I had to leave it for a few hours this morning because the rain was just too heavy. It wasn't any point, I'd just get soaking, the water would be running off the side. Anyway, first thing I remembered I got to do before I put the gutters on is trim down these end ridge tiles or hip tiles. So that's the first thing. And this is something that I should have really done back in the stages when I was fitting these, probably when they were off the roof. But I fitted them and I thought I'd get everything lined up and then trim them down to shape. And that's partly because of the shape of my roof. Oddly enough, where these slates come in, it doesn't actually, the square bit doesn't meet bang on in the centre of this, so I wanted to fit them in place, and then I'm going to cut it to shape so they meet the centre and try and make it look like a square. It's not exactly, but basically it'll be a bit of an eye trick, so it'll look good and it'll be perfect where it fits in the gutter, so just trust me on this one. So there we go, now I can get on with the gutter, and we'll have to pack that with some cement at a later date. So I've trimmed off those ridge tiles now on the corner. The other thing I remembered was to fill my gaps in the fascia board with the joints, and there's that bit between me and next door. It's got a bit of a twist. Now the way I got around that is I've got an old piece of fascia board I kept hold of, which I've got to bring out a little bit to bring next door's fascia board to the centre line. I'm going to have to use some edging trim on the one side. And the reason I'm going to have to use that is because where his splays out, I can't alter it. I thought I could drive it in, but I can't. Basically, it's the shape of his rafter. So, basically, if I cut the rafter down like I did mine, you'd end up with a twist in his fascia board to the next rafter. So what I'm going to do is leave his in place. I'm going to extend it out with this, which I've just cut in exactly the same method. This is the old size piece of fascia board. So fill the gap. I'm going to put a corner plastic piece around it, which you'll see in a minute, and that means that I'll cover the bit that sticks out of his. Tidy it up a bit, so there will be a slight bit that juts out. It'll be covered with UPVC so it won't catch the eye. And then on the other side of this joint, I'm just going to use the connector bit over the top, just a flat cover. So you can see what I mean there. I've left a gap either side, one for the flat cover over the top there, and this little bit that juts out, I'm going to have to put a corner piece around there and trim it down the sides, so you'll have a bit of a triangle. From down below is all you'll see is white plastic, so none of it catches the eye. It's only if there's a change in colour you're probably likely to look up and think, oh, what's that all about? And if you look, his fascia board's that angle all the way along, so if I used to cut down that rafter like I just mentioned, you're just going to get a twist to the next rafter on his side, so better to have the change in or the step right in the middle of the house, in my view. To cover up just a flat joint with no corner, we just use one of these here. They come in 300 lengths, we just cut it down to the size of your fascia board. So this one is 150. The one I've used is 175, hence that little drop there. So you'll see by here, this is the end bit of gutter on my neighbour's house. Now, unfortunately, the actual divide between me and next door is about by here. And just for aesthetics, I'm going to put in another union clip by there, just so that the colour of my gutter, which is black, has a distinct line where the two houses meet in the middle. And you don't have to do this, you could just join straight into it. I'm just being fussy. But it also means that in the future, if somebody changes their gutter next door, you've got that nice cut off between me and them at the same point as the fascia changing. So all I'm going to do now is measure 1 metre intervals. That's where I'm going to place my brackets, and then I'm going to use the square at those points, draw a straight line down the fascia so I know where to line the brackets up. And then after that I'm going to have to go down and I'm going to drop every metre by about 1.5 millimetres so that I get a gradual drop down to that corner, because I need to take the gutter around the side of the house. And then I can mark that position on each one of my lines, and then hopefully secure the brackets in place and actually give a nice drop for the gutter. And that's the highest point of the gutter between the two of us, and basically the water runs off down to the outside of each house. one thing I've done is just got my longer spirit level, and by fitting each bracket as I go along, it means I can butt the spirit level underneath the one bracket to hold it in place, and then drop it up and down to make sure I get the drop and mark off along the line. The other thing to note is I'm using the extension on my impact driver, because there's just no way you can get underneath this felt support tray just using the standard impact driver, because it gets in the way. The reason I just took the gutter back off is if you look through these brackets, they've actually got 3 screw holes. Now, I'm not going to put a screw through 3, I'm going to do it through 2. But initially I'll put it through the centre, and that means it allows you to rotate this left and right, so when the gutter goes in, it pulls itself in line. Now you can go back, now you've got one fixing in, and go and put however many other screws in just to hold it secure. Now when you're installing joints, like the union joints in the corners, don't butt the 2 sections of gutter where they join up to each other. If you look, that ridge marks the centre point of this. There's actually a mark there which says gutter to there and to there. So you leave about an inch gap between the 2 sections of gutter. The reason for that is expansion and contraction. If it needs to expand, it can move back and forth as the sun comes out and goes in and heats it up. So it's very important. Always do that on the union joints, never butt the 2 bits together. The other thing to note when you're fitting this is, if you take a look at this bracket here, although when they're together, they're exactly the same height, okay? These have a square back on them, so it's very easy to mark the bottom of that, which is what I've been doing, placing it up onto the fascia, putting a line on the bottom rather than the top, because it's easier to get access to. The trouble is with this one, it comes off the wall. So the way I'm going to do it is turn that around, upside down, line it up with the mark that I've got, then rest that on top, and you know then that that's going to be bang on level. Before we fit the gutter, I've just got to fit this section over this expansion gap. I find sometimes using the tin snips is just as easy as using a saw, if not easier. Snip from both sides towards that centre ridge. And then carefully twist back and forth, and just break off like that. Now, a lot of people use sealant for this. Just put a bead of sealant. Now if you're going to do that, only put the sealant on one side of this. And what that does is allows the one board to slide behind the other if it expands and contracts, and then this will move with the board that it's fixed to. Now I'm using the same principle, but I'm going to go through it with nails. Obviously I've got timber fascias under here, so I'm able to do this. Like I said, by putting those nails only on the one side, which is into this board, it means that this board is independent of this board and that cover. So it's free to move back and forth if it expands, with that expansion gap, which we left about 9 or 10 mil. Now it's exactly the same principle on this corner, which I'm going to do now. And again, we've got the same principle. I've nailed into this side, but I'm not nailing into that side. And again, this means that this board is free to move around independently of this one, and this is now not fixed to that. And there's obviously that little gap behind there, because rather than overlap those 2 UPVC fascias, I actually put one there and one there, allowing them both to move that way or that way. So there we go, that's one length of gutter done. Clips, brackets, corner bracket. Now we're just going to do exactly the same at the other length. And on this one I've got to put one bracket that goes into a downpipe, like a T-piece, so that takes the water down to one of my drains below. One thing I just wanted to point out, that earlier I was actually measuring the gutter and using a spirit level. I've just found a much quicker and easier way to do this, and it's basically by, as you just saw, attaching the gutter into the one bracket, put it in situ, put your next bracket on the gutter loose, put a spirit level in the gutter, get the tilt you want by looking down into the gutter at the spirit level, and then mark the top of the bracket. Now the reason I say this is because that gives you a real measurement or a real tilt. The problem I had earlier was I was getting the tilt, by the time you screw it in, it was obviously slightly adjusting the bracket, only by a couple of millimetres, tilting it that way, and suddenly this end was almost level with the last bracket, so I had to adjust a few. Underneath. Putting this corner on is just a temporary measure for the moment. I'm going to take the gutter back on this timber just to drop the water off, sort of run into the gutter below. The issue I got is, if I don't, the water's just going to pour straight down the side. It's either that or I just take the gutter back out again for now. But I'd like to have the water not going over the side of the house anymore, because it's splashing and soaking my walls. And also, I can't finish this fascia and that. This has got to come back off when I do this roof that we're on below, which is on the old section of the house, the bit that's not the loft conversion. So I'm going to crack on with this. So that's it now, all my gutters are done. There's a few bits I need to sort out once I've finished fascias on the end and that kind of thing. But now I'm just going to give this felt a trim down, which I always intended to do. I've had a lot of comments about this, people saying, you haven't got a clue what you're doing, mate, why have you let the felt overhang? It was because at the time I wasn't quite sure if I was going to have to space the gutters out, that kind of thing. And with these felt support trays, I just thought, you know what, leave a little overhang, I'll trim it down at a later date. And that's what I'm doing now. So a quick look at what we've done. Gutter all the way along the side of the house, yeah. That drops down into the downpipe there. Now I've used two white connectors there because I didn't actually have the black ones for now, so I've used some old ones, but we'll sort those out later. That's just resting in place at the moment, at least it'll take water off the roof now. So you've got the gutter on the front of the house, joining into next door, comes all the way down here, turns on the bend. Then you've got the one across the side of the dormer there. And now I've just jumped over to the other dormer, so we've got the gutter there. And these two, what I've done is just slope them backwards, drop them down and into a little 45 degree that brings it back out this way, just so it's not throwing the water at the tiles. Not that would matter with the overlap we got. These ones, which I'll do later, I'm not actually going to put gutters on those. They're just going to run, because it's not a large roof, so I'm happy with the water running straight onto the main roof for those. We've got this temporary fix at the moment, again, just to get the water off the roof, because obviously once you put the gutter in place and it's catching the water, it's a hell of a lot of water comes off this roof. And I didn't want it just spilling off the end, you know, you'd be better off not having any gutter in than that. So that's going to chuck the water on there for now. And the plan is to re-slate all this end roof as well at some point. But by getting all this done now, I can hopefully get this scaffolding down, because the scaffolder wants it. Leave this bit up that I'm stood on, and I can just work off this one then to do this rear dormer and all this end bit of house.